Welcome to the deep dive. Ever wonder why some habits just stick no matter what? Or how you can suddenly hate a food you once liked after just one bad experience?
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it?
It is. So today, we're pulling back the curtain on something really fundamental. How we actually learn. And this isn't just, school stuff. It's the hidden wiring behind our habits, our fears, even the skills we pick up.
Absolutely.
Our mission is to unpack these core mechanisms using insights from Nevid's Essentials of Psychology. We think you'll find some surprising things about how your own brain adapts.
It's truly fascinating stuff because learning, it's not just this isolated mental activity. It shapes almost everything we do.
Like what, specifically?
Well, think about your commute. You probably don't even consciously think about the route anymore,
Yes,
right?
right.
Or how a certain song can instantly bring back a strong emotion. And even, amazingly, how your body learns to react to things like fighting off illness.
Oh, okay.
So these concepts we're diving into, they really are the foundation of how we function and adapt day to day.
Okay, so where do we start? Foundational concepts.
Let's start with probably the most famous one, classical conditioning.
Ah, Pavlov's dogs, right?
That's the classic example, yeah. But it's broader than just salivating dogs. It's all about learning through association.
Association, meaning linking things together.
Exactly. Taking something neutral, something that initially means nothing, and pairing it with something that already causes a reaction. Eventually, that neutral thing starts causing the reaction all by itself.
Like you said, a song triggering a memory. The song was neutral at first.
Precisely. So let's break it down. You have the unconditioned stimulus, or US. That's the thing that naturally triggers a response, like the smell of baking bread.
Okay, it makes me hungry.
Right. That hunger or salivation is the unconditioned response, the UR. It's unlearned, automatic.
Got it. US and UR, natural connection.
Then you introduce a neutral stimulus, the NS. Maybe it's a specific sound, like a bell. Normally, a bell doesn't make you hungry. But if you ring that bell every single time just before you smell the bread, after a while, something clicks.
The bell starts to mean bread is coming.
You got it. The bell transforms. It becomes the conditioned stimulus, the CS. And now, just hearing the bell makes you hungry. That new learned hunger is the conditioned response, the CR.
So neutral stimulus becomes conditioned stimulus, leading to a conditioned response. The brain learned to anticipate based on the bell.
Exactly. A new pathway is formed.
But these pathways aren't set in stone, are they? What happens if the bell keeps ringing, but the bread never shows up?
Good question. That leads to extinction. If the CS, the bell, is repeatedly presented without the US, the bread, the conditioned response, the hunger, gradually weakens and disappears.
So the brain kind of unlearns the association.
Well, it seems like it, but then, and this is the really interesting part, you might get spontaneous recovery.
Meaning?
Weeks later, out of the blue, you hear that bell again, and boom, you feel a pang of hunger. Maybe not as strong as before, but it's back.
Whoa, so the learning wasn't totally erased, just dormant?
Seems that way. It suggests those learned connections are pretty persistent. And if you started pairing the bell and bread again after extinction.
Let me guess. The hunger response would come back faster.
Much faster. That's reconditioning. The brain is quick to pick up that old link again.
Okay, that makes sense. What about similar sounds? If a slightly different bell rings?
That touches on stimulus generalization. Initially, stimuli that are similar to the original CS might also trigger the CR, maybe a bit weaker. Like different bells might make you slightly hungry.
But eventually you'd learn the difference.
Yes, through stimulus discrimination. You learn to differentiate, so only the specific CS, the original bell, or ones very close to it, elicit that strong conditioned response.
It's amazing how automatic this all seems, and the real-world impact. You mentioned emotions.
Huge impact. Think about conditioned emotional reactions, or CERs. Phobias are a prime example.
Like being terrified of spiders.
Right. That intense fear is often a conditioned response linked to some past negative encounter. Even if you don't consciously remember the specific event, it's a learned association.
And knowing this helps treat phobias.
Absolutely. Behavior therapy uses these principles. Things like systematic desensitization, gradually expose someone to the feared stimulus while teaching relaxation, essentially counter-conditioning or extinguishing the fear response.
Okay. What about that food aversion thing you mentioned?
Conditioned taste aversion.
Ew.
This one is powerful. You eat something new, maybe sushi for the first time, and later you get sick maybe from a stomach bug totally unrelated to the sushi.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh is right. Suddenly, just the thought or smell or sight of sushi makes you feel nauseous.
Yeah.
It's a learned aversion, and it can happen after just one pairing, even if the food wasn't the real cause. It's a strong survival mechanism, presumably.
Wow. Okay, so emotions, tastes. What else? You hinted at something even more surprising.
Yes. This is really mind-bending. Research by Ader and Cohen showed that even the immune system can be classically conditioned.
Wait, what? Like your white blood cells can learn from a bell?
Sort of. In their studies, they paired a specific taste, a neutral stimulus, with a drug that suppressed the immune system, an unconditioned stimulus causing immune suppression.
Okay.
After repeated pairings, they found that giving the rats just the taste alone, without the drug, actually caused their immune systems to become suppressed.
That's incredible. The taste itself triggered a physical immune response.
Exactly. It conditioned the immune system.
So this goes way beyond simple reflexes. It's connecting psychological learning directly to physiological responses, like our body's defenses.
Precisely. And the implications, well, they're potentially enormous for health.
How so?
Imagine if we could, say, condition a patient's body to reduce its tendency to reject a transplanted organ. Maybe pair the taste of something specific with their necessary immune suppressant drugs.
So eventually the taste alone might help manage the immune response.
Potentially, yes. It could mean needing lower doses of those powerful drugs, which often have serious side effects. It opens up really exciting possibilities for mind-body medicine, grounded in these basic learning principles.
That really is a powerful idea. Okay, so classical conditioning is about learning associations, often unconsciously. But what about learning from the results of our actions? When we do something and learn based on what happens next.
Ah, now you're shifting gears into the territory of operant conditioning.
Operant conditioning.
Right.
This feels more active.
It is. It's learning based on consequences. The foundational idea here is Thorndike's law of effect.
The law of effect.
Simply put, if you do something and it leads to a satisfying outcome, you're more likely to do it again. If it leads to an unpleasant outcome, you're less likely.
Makes intuitive sense. Good results encourage behavior, bad results discourage it.
Exactly. And B.F. Skinner really built on this. He coined the term operant conditioning and studied how operant responses, basically, actions that operate on the environment to produce some effect, are learned.
And he used that famous box, right? The Skinner box.
He did, to precisely control the environment and study how consequences shape behavior. The key element is the reinforcer.
A reinforcer is the consequence.
It's any consequence that increases the probability that the behavior will happen again. It strengthens the response.
Okay, strengthens the response. So how does that work? Are there different kinds?
Yes, and this is where people sometimes get tripped up. We have positive reinforcement and negative reinforcement. Both strengthen behavior, but they do it differently.
All right, break it down for us. Positive first.
Positive reinforcement is probably what most people think of. You add something desirable or pleasant after a behavior occurs.
Like giving a treat to a dog when it sits.
Perfect example. Or praising an employee for good work. You add something good, the behavior. Sitting, good work, is more likely to happen again.
Simple enough. Okay, now negative reinforcement. This isn't punishment, right?
Absolutely not. That's the key distinction. Negative reinforcement strengthens a behavior because that behavior removes or avoids something unpleasant or aversive.
Remove something unpleasant.
Yeah.
Okay, example.
Think about buckling your seatbelt. That annoying dinging sound stops when you buckle up. The act of buckling up is reinforced because it removes the annoying sound.
Ah, okay. Or taking an aspirin to get rid of a headache.
Exactly. Taking the aspirin, the behavior, is reinforced because it removes the pain, the aversive stimulus. You're more likely to take aspirin next time you have a headache. Both positive and negative reinforcement increase behavior.
Got it. Adding something good or removing something bad both make the action more likely. What about the reinforcers themselves? Are some more basic than others?
Good point. We differentiate between primary reinforcers and secondary reinforcers.
Primary sounds like fundamental needs.
Precisely. Food, water, warmth, relief from pain, even sexual stimulation. They're naturally reinforcing because they satisfy biological needs. No learning required to find them rewarding.
Okay. And secondary?
Secondary reinforcers are learned. They gain their power through association with primary reinforcers. Money is the classic example.
Right. Money itself doesn't satisfy a biological need.
Nope, but you learn that money can get you food, shelter, comfort, the primary reinforcers. So money, good grades, praise, tokens, they become powerful motivators through learning.
Okay. That makes sense. Now, does the situation matter? Like, when is the reinforcement actually available?
Yes, context is crucial. This involves the discriminative stimulus. It's a cue or signal in the environment that indicates that reinforcement is available if you perform a specific response.
Like a green traffic light signals that pressing the accelerator is likely to be reinforced by moving forward.
Perfect analogy. Or your phone buzzing. That buzz is a discriminative stimulus signaling that checking your phone, the response, might be reinforced by seeing a message. Without the buzz, you're less likely to check just then.
So these stimuli set the stage for the behavior. What if the behavior is complex? Like teaching a child to tie their shoes. They won't just do it perfectly first time for a reward.
Ah, exactly. For complex behaviors, we use shaping, also called the method of successive approximations.
Successive approximations. Sounds like small steps.
It is. You reinforce actions that get closer and closer to the final desired behavior. For shoe tying, you might first reward just touching the laces, then making one loop, then crossing them, and so on.
Rewarding baby steps towards a goal.
Precisely. It's how animal trainers teach amazing tricks, and how we often learn complex motor skills or even social behaviors, gradually refining our actions based on feedback.
Okay, shaping makes complex learning possible. Now, does it matter how often you get reinforced?
Oh, absolutely. This brings us to schedules of reinforcement. These are the rules that determine when a behavior will be reinforced.
Rules for rewards. Okay.
The simplest is continuous reinforcement. Every single time the desired response occurs, it gets reinforced.
Like getting a gumball every time you put a coin in the machine.
Exactly. It's great for learning a new behavior quickly, but there's a catch.
What's the catch?
Behaviors learned this way also extinguish quickly once the reinforcement stops. Stop putting gumballs in, people stop putting coins in pretty fast.
So what's the alternative?
Partial reinforcement, also called intermittent reinforcement. Here, only some of the correct responses are reinforced, not every single time.
Like sometimes the gumball machine works, sometimes it doesn't.
Kind of, yeah. And here's the kicker. Behaviors learned under partial reinforcement are much more resistant to extinction.
More resistant, even though you're getting rewarded less often. That seems counterintuitive.
It does, but think about it. If you're used to not getting rewarded every time, you'll keep trying for longer when the rewards stop altogether. You're not sure if it's just a long gap or if it's truly over.
The slot machine effect.
Exactly. Gambling is often based on partial reinforcement schedules, which is why it can be so compelling and hard to stop.
Okay, so within partial reinforcement, are there different patterns?
Yes, 4 main types based on whether reinforcement depends on the number of responses ratio or the time elapsed interval, and whether that number or time is fixed or variable.
Okay, let's unpack those. Fixed ratio.
Fixed ratio schedule. Reinforcement comes after a specific fixed number of responses, like getting paid for every 10 items you assemble. It tends to produce high rates of response with maybe a short pause after reinforcement.
Makes sense. Variable ratio. That's the slot machine one.
Variable ratio schedule. Reinforcement comes after an unpredictable number of responses, varying around some average. Slot machines, commission sales, very high, steady rates of response, and highly resistant to extinction because you never know when the next payoff is coming.
Okay, powerful stuff. Now, interval schedules. Fixed interval.
Fixed interval schedule. Reinforcement is given for the first correct response after a fixed amount of time has passed. Think of checking the mail near delivery time, or studying more right before a scheduled exam. Response rates often slow down after reinforcement, speed up as the time approaches.
Right, cramming for tests. And the last one, variable interval.
Variable interval schedule. Reinforcement is given for the first correct response after varying, unpredictable amounts of time have passed, like checking your email or social media notifications. You don't know when a new message will arrive, so you check periodically. Leads to slow, steady rates of response.
Wow, these schedules really explain a lot about why we do things the way we do. Okay, quick clarification. Back on negative reinforcement. You mentioned escaping or avoiding unpleasant things. Are escape learning and avoidance learning different?
They are subtly different, yes. In escape learning, you're already in the presence of an aversive stimulus, and your behavior allows you to escape it.
Like running inside after it starts raining heavily.
Exactly. You escape the downpour. Avoidance learning is more proactive. You perform a behavior that prevents the aversive stimulus from happening in the first place.
Like checking the forecast and taking an umbrella before you leave, so you avoid getting wet altogether.
Precisely. You learn a signal predicts the unpleasant event, and you act to avoid it. Avoidance learning can be very persistent, even when the threat is gone.
Got it. Reactive escape versus proactive avoidance. Now, what about the flip side of reinforcement? What about trying to stop a behavior? That's punishment, right?
Correct. While reinforcement strengthens behavior, punishment is designed to weaken or suppress a behavior.
And like reinforcement, are there different types?
Yes, paralleling reinforcement. We have positive punishment and negative punishment.
Okay, positive punishment. Adding something unpleasant.
Exactly. You introduce an aversive stimulus following a behavior to decrease the likelihood of that behavior. Examples might be scolding someone for being late or giving extra chores for misbehavior. You add something bad.
And negative punishment. That must be removing something good.
You got it. You remove a reinforcing or desirable stimulus following a behavior to decrease its likelihood, like taking away TV privileges for fighting or putting someone in timeout, removing them from reinforcing activities.
Okay, so punishment adds bad or removes good, both aiming to reduce behavior. The why it matters for operant conditioning seems huge.
Oh, it's everywhere. Think about biofeedback training. People learn to control things like their heart rate, muscle tension, or even skin temperature by getting immediate feedback reinforcement when they make small changes in the desired direction.
Controlling involuntary bodily functions.
Amazing, isn't it? Then there's behavior modification, which is the systematic application of operant principles reinforcement, shaping, sometimes punishment, to change behavior in therapeutic or educational settings. Helping people overcome addictions, manage developmental disorders, improve study habits.
Wide range of applications.
Definitely. And even in education, programmed instruction, often seen in educational software, breaks down complex subjects into small, manageable steps. You master one step, get reinforced, like confirmation you're correct, then move to the next. It's pure operant conditioning principles for learning.
Incredible how these basic principles scale up. Okay, we've covered learning by association, classical, and learning by consequences, operant. But sometimes learning feels more internal, like figuring something out in your head.
Exactly. Our minds aren't just passively reacting. That brings us to our third major area, cognitive learning.
Cognitive learning. So this involves thinking, memory, mental processes more directly.
Precisely. It acknowledges that internal mental events play a crucial role in learning, going beyond just stimulus response or behavior consequence links.
What are some key types?
One fascinating type is insight learning. This is that sudden aha moment.
The light bulb moment.
Right. You're grappling with a problem, maybe feeling stuck, and then suddenly the solution just clicks into place. It doesn't seem like slow trial and error. It feels like a mental reorganization of the problem's elements.
Like suddenly seeing the puzzle differently.
Exactly. Wolfgang Kohler's classic studies with chimpanzees demonstrated this, a chimp suddenly figuring out how to stack boxes or use a stick to reach a banana high up, not through random tries, but seemingly after a period of thought.
So it's a mental leap, not just reinforced steps. What else?
Then there's latent learning. This really challenges the idea that reinforcement is always necessary for learning to occur.
Latent. Like hidden learning.
Kind of. It's learning that happens without any obvious reinforcement and isn't demonstrated until reinforcement is introduced.
Can you give an example?
Sure. Tolman's experiments with rats in mazes are famous here. One group got rewarded with food for reaching the end. Another group just wandered the maze with no reward. A third group wandered with no reward for several days, then started getting rewarded.
Okay, what happened?
The rats rewarded from the start learned quickly. The rats never rewarded didn't learn much, but the group that started getting rewards later, they suddenly showed they'd learned the maze layout just as well as the group rewarded all along.
Wow, so they were learning the whole time, even without a reward.
Exactly. They had formed a cognitive map, a mental representation of the maze while they were just exploring. The learning was hidden or latent until the reward gave them a reason to show what they knew.
So we're constantly building these mental maps of our surroundings, even subconsciously.
It seems so. Our brains are always processing and storing information, even if we're not being explicitly rewarded for it.
Okay, insight learning, latent learning. What's the third cognitive type?
Observational learning, also called vicarious learning or modeling. This one is hugely important, especially for humans.
Learning by watching others.
Simply put, yes. We learn a huge amount by observing the behavior of others' models and the consequences of their actions.
So you don't have to touch the hot stove yourself.
If you see someone else do it and yell in pain, you learn pretty quickly not to touch it. Albert Bandura's famous Bobo doll experiments showed how children learn aggressive behaviors just by watching an adult model act aggressively.
So we learn skills, attitudes, social norms, fears. All just by watching.
A significant amount, yes. Think about learning to dance or cook, or even how to behave in certain social situations. We watch, we imitate, we learn from others' successes and failures. It's incredibly efficient,
It really is. What a fascinating journey this has been, exploring how we learn
isn't it?
from those almost automatic connections in classical conditioning, shaping our gut reactions and even our immune system, to the way consequences drive our actions in operant conditioning, building habits and skills through reinforcement and shaping,
Right.
all the way to the cognitive side, those aha moments, the hidden maps we build, and just learning by watching someone else. It's not just theory. It's literally how we become who we are.
It truly is. And understanding these different ways we learn classical, operant, cognitive feel, it really gives you powerful tools. Tools to understand your own patterns, your habits, why you react the way you do sometimes.
And maybe tools to change things too.
Potentially, yes. Or at least to understand the behavior of people around you a bit better. Which leads to, I think, a really important final thought for you, the listener.
Okay.
Now that you have a better handle on how learning actually works, these different mechanisms, how might you consciously use this knowledge? Could you apply these principles to maybe build a new skill more effectively, or tackle a habit you want to change, or perhaps even help someone else learn something important in a better way? The potential to intentionally shape learning is right there.